north, south, east, and west. And there are four more in green color. Can you see them? Hello.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. So in between north and east, it's northeast, right? And then between east and south, you've got southeast. And between south and west, you've got the southwest. And between north and west, you've got the northwest. So it's like just drawing excess on your this one. You'll draw a plus, and if you draw two excess, then you get this. You get these 8 directions, and these are our basic directions. Now, suppose you go somewhere. I do not know how to put it in context, but then let's see. Suppose you have to come from Kuwait to India. All right, which direction will you travel in? The shortest direction. Anyone?
East.
Yeah, so if you are traveling from Kuwait to
Southeast.
India, you'll be traveling towards the east. You can go from the west also because the earth is round, but then it will take a longer time. All right. Now, what if you're stuck in the jungle somewhere and like you or you're stuck anywhere where you do not have a compass or you do not have a way to know whether you're uh, where you have to go. All right, suppose we put you in a room and simply we close your eyes, or we don't close your eyes, we just put you in a new room and we tell you to travel east. You won't even know which direction to travel. All right, because you won't know uh, when you're in a new room, in a new place, when you're in a new location, then you do not know your basic directions. So there are few ways you can find directions without using a compass. Do you know what the use of a compass is? Not the ones that you draw circles with. A compass is a needle-like thing. All right. A compass is a needle like it's like a needle that points north and south. Always it points in which direction? North and south. So if you've got your needle right, then your one side of the needle will point to the magnetic north and the other side will point to the south. Now, once you know your north and south, you can easily find the rest of the direction. So finding directions without a compass. One of the methods is, suppose you're in the northern hemisphere, all right? We are all living in the northern hemisphere. Maybe Nathaniel is in the southern hemisphere. No, he's not. Nathaniel also lives in the northern hemisphere. And in the northern hemisphere, if you look at plants, the norther you go, the higher north you go, the less vegetation you have or the less amount of plants you have. But if you've got a tree somewhere and you'll notice that on trees that some small mosses are growing, and plants need one very important thing. Can someone tell? Plants need water, air, and
Sunlight.
sunlight. Yes, you're right. Plants need water, air, and sunlight. Those are the basic things that plants need. And so, if you look at a bark of a tree, if you're lost somewhere, if you do not know which direction you're going, you have to observe the tree carefully. And towards the south side, which side? Towards if you are living in a northern hemisphere, the trees will have tiny green what to call organisms, plants living on them on the south side. And if you are in the southern hemisphere, since the sun is always towards the north, if you are living in the southern hemisphere, then these plants will be towards the north side of the tree. So that is one way to find your direction. So once you know your north and south, then you'll be easily able to find the other directions. So before we go ahead, let me just tell you this. All right. Suppose you know your north. Okay. If you know your north, then you look towards your north. Okay. You'll face your north and your right side. your right hand side will point towards the east. Okay, your right hand side will point towards what? If you're
East.
looking north, your right hand will point towards the east and your left hand will point towards west. So you're facing north, your back is towards south, your right hand is towards the east, your left hand is towards the west. So those are your four directions. Next thing, suppose you're in the night. In the night, can you see the sun? Yes or no? Basic
No.
question. Yeah,
No.
it's simple. At night we cannot see the sun. So we all learn from childhood the sun rises in the east and sets in the west and all that kind of thing. But at night, if you're not having the moon around also, then you can use this method. All right, you'll use two sticks. You can see this picture. Can you see it? So you'll be having two sticks. One will be short and the other one will be long. So you'll put these two sticks into the ground. They should be little high, at least a foot long. The shorter one should be at least a foot long or 2 feet long, and the longer one should at least be 3 feet long, 3 or 4 feet long. Now you place them in such a way that when you look at the top of them, when you look at the top from the from the shorter stick, if you look towards the taller stick on the horizon, means behind the tall stick, you should see a star. You will be looking at a bright star. Now, if you look beyond that, it's like telescope, right? So the front end is a short stick, the further end is a long stick, and far away you'll be looking at the star. And you have to hold that position and you have to wait. Maybe you can wait for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and for sure the star will have moved. All right, because the earth is rotating, it will seem that the star has moved. Now, this one, I hope you all are taking notes because it's very important. Roland, are they supposed to be taking notes?
Yes, they have to write all of it in their books.
Yeah, so this is important because it was, this is something which we do not usually learn about how to find direction using sticks. So suppose the star moves up, all right, you're looking past and then the star moves up, it means that side is east. If the star moves up, that side is east. If the star has moved down, if that particular star has moved down, that direction is west. And if the star has moved towards the left, if you're looking at the star, if the star has moved towards the left, that direction is north. So if it has moved up, it is east. If the star has moved down, that is west. If the star has moved towards the left, that is north. If the star has moved towards the right, then that is south. All right. Now
Could you
sometimes the
please
star,
repeat?
all right. So if the star at the horizon, one, you'll be looking at one star, okay? A particularly bright star. And if according to the sticks, the star has moved up, if it has moved up, you are looking towards the east. Did you get that?
Yes.
If the star has moved down, you are looking towards the west. The direction is the west. All right?
Yes.
If the star has moved towards the left, from the stick, it has moved towards the left, then the direction of the star is north. If the star has moved towards the right, then the direction at which the star is at the south. All right.
Yes.
Now sometimes the star will move up towards the right. It will move up and towards the right. Okay. So if it has moved up and towards the right, then that direction is southeast. If the star has moved up towards the right, up and towards the right, okay, it moved in a diagonal way like this, up and towards the right, then that side is southeast. if it moves up but towards the left, then that side is northeast. If it has moved down and towards the left, then that side is uh, northwest. If it has moved downwards towards the left, that side is northwest. If it has moved downwards towards the right, that side is southwest. All right. I hope you got these 8 directions. We'll go to the next method. All right. Okay, before going to so complex methods, one very simple thing we've learned in our elementary schools. The sun rises in which direction? The sun rises in which
East.
direction?
East.
It rises in the east. So that is the most obvious thing. All right. If it's the morning time, all right. If you are somewhere in the morning time and you see the sun rising, so don't think that is west or that is north. Okay. You might not have a compass, but if you see the sun rising, automatically, since you've learned it, you know that is the east direction. That is east. And if it is evening time and you see the sun setting, then that automatically becomes west. Once you know one direction like that, you'll be able to figure out the rest of the direction. All right, let's go to the next method. The next method is using stars. Okay, can anyone tell me what the name of this big line of stars is? It's given even in the Bible. It looks like a spoon, right? Can anyone name this constellation, this big line of stars?
Orion belt.
I'm sorry, sir. You
North
will get
Star.
lost. The Roland will get lost in the jungle. It's given in the Bible, though. All right, it's called the Ursa Major. All right, Ursa Major or the Great Bear. So if you look on a clear night sky, like over here, I'm in a village, there is no light pollution at all. So at night, I'm able to see the Milky Way. I'm able to see all the stars very clearly. If I take a photo, the whole sky is filled with dots. All right, it's very clear for me. I'm here in the village and outside is just jungle and there is no light pollution. So these, how many numbers of stars? These big stars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these 7 stars, if you just look in the sky, they're very easy to spot. Okay, they will be in a direction and they will be like this in a spoon shape. So there is this red arrow. All right, this red arrow is pointing towards the pole star. What is the red arrow pointing towards in this image?
Pole star.
Towards the North Pole star. Okay, and God has made it in such a way that the star never moves. Okay, it is positioned in such a way relative to the earth. Like when you compare with the earth, the star is placed in such a way that it never moves. Whether it's daytime or nighttime, daytime you're not able to see it, but throughout the night, if it's a clear night sky, you'll be able to see the star. And you'll be able to find it out by the help of this great bear. Now you can see these two. You'll be able to see these two last 2 stars, right? They're pointing towards the red star. If you draw a line, I mean this red arrow, if you draw a line, straight line from these two, you'll be able to see 1 star, and the North Star never moves. And if you know this, if you know your north direction, then you'll be able to find behind is south, right side is east, and left side is west. Now there's one more companion of the great bear. It's called the little bear. All right, and it's in the same shape as this, but then you check the direction from the tail. But usually it's very easy to spot the great bear, and so you'll be easily able to find the North Star. Now once again, I'll repeat, the North Star is very important. It's called the Polaris. What is it called? Polaris, Polaris. All right. It's called Polaris and it never moves. So that is one way to find. Now we already found 3 ways. One, I told you 4 ways. One is by looking at all these plants. Next way is by using these 2 sticks at night. Another way is the obvious. If you see the sun rising in the morning, that is east. If you see the sun setting in the evening, that is west. And then using the Great Bear or called the Big Dipper. And the next thing is this. It's a very interesting way by using your watch. All right. The next method is by using your watch. And it is better if you are in the northern hemisphere. All right. This one, it's easier to use in a northern hemisphere. So what happens is you will point your hour hand. The hour hand is a shorter hand. Okay. The shorter hand, you will point towards the sun. So if it is like in this picture, it is 8:15. So at 8:15, obviously it is not nighttime because by 8:15 at night, you do not have the sun. And at 8:15 in the morning, this person points his watch towards the sun and you can draw a line between 12 o'clock and 8 o'clock. All right. After you point the hour hand towards the sun, you will draw a line that divides that gap. You can see these 2 arrows, right? One is pointing the sun, that is the hour hand, and the other arrow is pointing upwards towards 12. And there is a north-south line that is dividing this angle into 2 halves. So that line becomes your north-south line. All right. Before we go ahead, are there any questions? Anybody has a question? All right, no questions. I think you all are very smart. All right, let's go ahead then. Okay, yeah, I got my video also. So you're having your watch, and I hope this is clear because it's a little confusing. Okay, usually you don't plan to get lost with the watch, but some people do have a watch. So you'll point the hour hand, which is the short hand, towards the sun, and you will divide the gap between that hour hand and 12 o'clock. You'll divide it and then you'll draw an imaginary line. And that line will be pointing towards the north and south. All right, so you'll be able to find your north-south line. Once you have your north-south line, you'll be able to find the east and the west direction. All right, so those were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I gave you 5 methods, right? Of finding directions without using a compass. Now I'll tell you one more. The next method is similar to this method. Can you see this picture, right? Can you see?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So the image here is a nighttime image. But we can use this method during the day. So what you will do is, all right, let me see. You'll have a stick like this. All right, you'll poke it in the ground because
We can't see you, Joy.
you can't see me.
No.
Can
When
you see
you when
me?
you change your screen, then it goes off automatically.
All right, so when I change to the screen, it goes off.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back here. All
But
right.
now we can see you.
Yeah. So you'll have a stick like this. All right. You'll have a stick like this. You'll plant it in the ground. All right. You'll poke it in the ground. Like maybe at 10 o'clock, if you get lost, then the sun is already high up above. And you need to find direction. Then it's very difficult to find direction because, well, it's already way beyond sunrise. So you'll have a stick like this and you poke it in the ground and you'll mark the shadow. You'll mark the shadow with a line. Now we know that the sun goes from east towards the west because the earth rotates from west to east. The sun appears to move from east to west. So after you take your stick, you plant it in the ground, you draw your shadow. All right. Then maybe after 10 minutes.
The shadow of the stick? Whose shadow?
The whole question.
No, what do we draw on the floor? The shadow?
Yeah, you mark the shadow of the stick. All right.
Okay.
So you mark the shadow of the stick at that point, you poke it, and after 10 minutes, the sun would have moved, and so would have your shadow. All right.
Yes,
The
yes.
sun would, so because the sun moved, your shadow also will move. Now your shadow will move from, okay, so it'll move
East
in
to
a
west.
all right. It will move in accordance to the sun. So your first shadow and your second shadow, all right. If you draw a line between your first shadow and second shadow, between the tips of your first and second shadow, that is your east-west line. All right. Did you get it? You will mark your first shadow. After a few minutes, you mark your second shadow. And then you'll draw a line between the two shadows. All right. The tips of the two shadows. And that becomes your east-west line. The first shadow, if it is if the sun, if the shadow moved from, if it moved towards the right, all right, if your shadow moved towards the right, then the direction is east. The direction that the shadow moved towards is east if it moves toward the right. If it moved towards the left, then the direction becomes your west. And that's how the sun, that's how it is for by using this method. But basically you'll get your east-west line. And if you want to wait a little longer, then you'll obviously, it will go in a direction, and that direction is towards the west. And that is your 6 ways of finding your direction without a compass. Okay, now let me go ahead. Now we'll do your honor. All right. I think, yeah. So are there any questions for this? Finding direction without a compass, or is there any feedback? If you have got another idea which I did not teach, that you were lost and you were able to find a direction without the compass, does anyone have any idea or any feedback now?
Your
Any questions?
wristwatch method,
Yeah.
you have shown us now south and north, okay?
Yeah.
An imaginary line. Can you just
Yeah.
also show the imaginary line for the east and the west, please?
All right. So what happens is your north and south. If you want to find the east and west, you just draw a plus, right? Like this image. Let me go back to that image. Okay, it's not. All right, so you can see this image, right?
Hmm.
So when you have a north-south line, you draw a line 90 degrees to it, like an X, and that becomes your east-west line. So if you have your east-west line, you draw a line 90 degrees to it, and it becomes your north-south line. Did you get now?
Can you go to the wristwatch itself, please?
Yeah, okay, no problem. So here we're having the wristwatch.
Okay,
All right.
okay. And just can you keep up your pencil across as an imaginary line or any object so that I can understand properly, please?
All right. Right now my screen is not supporting this image.
Okay,
Let me
okay.
just try. Let me just try. I haven't tried
So,
it yet.
so you would mean to say you would keep the imaginary line on number, which number of the watch dial? You
Let
can
me.
say direct me like that as well.
All right. So here you can see, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
where will the imaginary line come?
the sun is here,
Uh,
and this
7
is
and
your
1, I think. Yeah.
huh? Yeah. We'll go slowly.
7.5. Yeah.
So this is your hour hand. Your hour
Yeah.
hand you'll point towards the sun. This is mainly for northern hemisphere, all right? All of us. And you're having a 12 o'clock here. So you will bisect this angle. I hope you all understand the meaning of bisect. We'll cut
Yeah,
this
divide.
angle
Yes.
in half, and that becomes the north-south line with the with the direction towards the sun being your south. All right. So now you're having this, and so you got your north-south line. Now you have to draw another imaginary line perpendicular to this, or 90 degrees to it, or like an X. So it's like this between 7 and 1. Roland was right. So obviously, so towards your right is always east. Yes. And towards your left is always west. So from this, you'll be able to find this direction becomes southwest, this direction becomes southeast, this direction becomes northwest, and so on and so forth. I hope that's clear.
Yes. Now it's clear. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. So Roland, so there's no assignment for this, but Roland, do you want to give them an assignment?
Yeah, I think they're going for the camp, so they can do one of them.
Yeah, you can.
All who are
you can
doing for
use
the
this-
camp.
All right. So let me just try to find a blank.
The one with the shadow, you're telling them?
Let me look for the shadow one.
Or let's ask the kids only what they want.
Yeah, ask them.
Guys, what do you want to do for the camp? Which method you want to use? You guys have to do one method.
All right. Anyway, I'll just show the sun method here. All right.
Okay, show the
Using
sun, yeah.
So you're having your sun. Okay, where is the pen color? All right. This is your sun, basic sun. I do not know whether it's morning or evening. So I poked my stick here. All right. And I will get a shadow because the shadow will come in this direction. Yes or no? The shadow is always opposite to the sun. All right.
Yes.
So after 10 minutes, the shadow moved here, which means, okay, why is it not erasing? All right, which means that the sun moved lower. The sun moved somewhere there, right? So I will have to draw between the tips of this. All right, I'll draw a line between the tips of this, and this one basically becomes my east-west direction. All right. It becomes my east-west direction. Now, if the sun has gone down, all right, the shadow has become longer. The shadow has moved towards the right, towards the left in this image. So this direction becomes west and this direction becomes east. You'll have to use your common sense a little bit. All right. Because if the sun is going down, you'll never see the sun going down in the east. All right. Yeah, so it will move from this to this direction and the shadow has become longer. You'll notice if you go for evening walks, your shadows are very long, right? in the morning also, your shadows will be long, but then your shadows become shorter and shorter as the day goes by from the morning time. And in the evening, your shadow becomes longer and longer. So if your shadow has become longer, and then you'll have your east-west line, the direction which the shadow has moved to becomes your east, and the opposite direction becomes your west. Now, since you know your east and west, you'll draw another X. This part becomes east-west. Then, okay, let me align east-west. This one becomes south, and this one becomes north. So I hope you got this, right? Did you get it? Hopefully. Hopefully you got it. All right.
Yes, we got.
All right. So next we will go on to your camping skills. How many of you love to go camping? Please answer. I like to hear an answer. So Roland, do you love to go camping?
Yes.
Do you remember this? Yeah, so Rafael also loves to go camping. I hope that was, is that a question hand or is it approval hand? Rafael?
Sir, I like to go camping.
Okay, so that you are approving that you like to go camping. Now, very sad because of Corona, especially in India. For the past 3 years, no one has been able to go camping because it's very strict. But for me, here I'm in Manipur, which is a state in the northeast of India. Now, if you know the map of India, I hope all of us are okay. Not all of us will be Indians, but then if you know the map of India, towards the east, towards Burma, there is a state called Manipur. Raphael's parents are from there, and so Raphael is a native of Manipur. So in the state, it's filled with mountains, it's filled with rivers. Like anytime I want to drink water, really I can go up to a mountain stream and drink water. All right.
Wow.
And you are being in Kuwait, this one will be a luxury. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because the government
Yes,
spends more money on
yes.
water. The Kuwaiti government spends more money on water than on anything else. And right here, I'm living in the mountains. It rains daily. I can just go drink water without thinking about anything. I'm in the jungles basically. It's a camp for me every time. If if it was daylight, I'll be able to show you around. And every day I can go swimming. Every day I can my friends go hunting, and it's just camp for me. But there are a few things we should know before camping, right? You just cannot simply go in the jungle because what are there in the jungle? Jungles are known for what? Do you find pet animals in the jungle? Huh? Will you find a cute little rabbit,
You'll find
white
big
color?
cats.
You'll find big cats, you'll find animals that can harm you. You'll find scorpions, you'll find snakes. In fact, right now, just just before we began this program, I had walked by and there was a leech on me here. Maybe it's still around here. Yeah, so leech, you know what a leech is, right? They are those worm-like things that climb on you and they suck your blood. So right now there was one on me. I don't know. I killed it and put it somewhere. So you cannot simply go into a jungle. All right, and that's why it's important to have some precautions. Means we before we go to do anything, we need to be careful about what we do. Now, one of the rules. All right, I hope you write this down. It's called 7 leave no trace principle. I'll enlarge this for you.
We can't see your screen.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sharing the screen yet.
Okay, okay.
I'll give some time to copy them. Share screen. All right, so can you see this? It's written, memorize the 7 leave no trace principles. So these are the 7 leave no trace principles that they usually follow in America. All right. So I'll give you how many? 3 minutes, and please copy these 7 points. And you'll have to memorize. It says what? Memorize the 7 leave no trace principles. So I hope you start copying them. You've started copying them. The first one, plan ahead and prepare. Are you all copying it down?
Yes.
Just note it down.
Yeah, I put in the group also. So they have it in the group. They have a copy.
Okay. God, then you don't have to copy. So I will just begin talking about it. Plan ahead and prepare. Suppose you want to go swimming. Will you wear all warm clothes and go for swimming? That is basically stupidity, because if you wear woolen clothes and go for swimming, you will drown. All right. Even the best swimmer on this earth, if he wears all those heavy things, he's going to drown, because your woolen clothes and those thick clothes will capture water, and down you will go like Jonah, but there'll be no fish to save you. All right. So you need to plan. And suppose you're going for like Rafael and all, I remember in 2015 or 16, they went to Shimla. So they did not go with banyan, they did not go with their swimsuit, because they went during winter and it was snowing over there. So if you try to go with swimsuit, you will die, all right? Because you will die of hypothermia. Hypothermia is when your body becomes too cold because of the surrounding. So that's why it's important to plan ahead and prepare. So these are the 7 leave no trace principles. Always plan ahead and prepare. So Kuwait people are going for, the Kuwait Pathfinder Club is going for their camp. When is your camp?
Next week, 14.
All right. So you already have a plan, right? You did not say sometime this month without knowing, right?
No.
You had a plan. And do you plan to take 1,000 people?
No.
Yeah, so you plan for the amount of people, because we need to
650.
buy things, we need to take care of things. All this we need to plan ahead and prepare. Now you won't carry heavy luggages, all right? You won't be able to carry your air conditioning if you're having air conditioning and all, because you're going camping. Next thing is travel and camp on durable surfaces. It means when you're traveling, it'll be very common for you all in Kuwait. You don't simply walk on the sand, because there can be a quicksand anywhere, right? You do not know which location actually has quicksand or mire. That's why people, before there was GPS, they used to simply get lost in the desert. They'll walk somewhere and they will just disappear. If you watch the movie, The Mummy, all right, they'll be walking somewhere, they just go inside the sand. Means that is not a good place to be walking around. You should always be careful on which place you're walking, and don't walk in muddy, watery places simply. You should also make your camp in a place that is very sturdy. All right. You should not make in a very sandy place. Like I mentioned before, sand will just come and go. And when it's too windy in Kuwait, you'll know that the sand dunes, they shift. This morning, there's a big sand hill in front of your house. And after 2 hours of the wind, your whole front area is plain, because the sand has shifted somewhere else. So if you build your house on top of that sand mountain, it's called a sand dune. If you build your camp, your tent on top of the sand dune, you will also go somewhere with the wind and nobody will know where you are. Hopefully you do not die. Next thing is dispose of waste properly. This is a big problem in India. All right, we're called the garbage of the world. And most of us are ethnic Indians. So whether you like it or not, that thing is inside you. All right. We do not care about disposing our trash wisely. We eat a chocolate, we eat a wrap, we throw the wrapper here and there. And it's not usually followed in our modern culture. We usually dispose our waste here and there. So, as pathfinders, as responsible citizens, as good children, as good adults, we should always dispose of waste properly. If you've eaten a chips packet, all right, don't simply throw the packet here and there. You can keep a small pouch in your bag where you keep all your waste. And once you go home, you can dispose of the waste properly. Next is leave what you find. Now, this is very difficult for me to do because when we go camping, we'll find a nice rock. Some people find gold when they're going for camping because nobody goes there. Some people find diamonds. Now, if you find a piece of diamond, you will not want to leave it, right? But what it means to say, try to leave nature as it is. If you see a beautiful flower, don't simply pluck it and bring it. If you see an extraordinary plant, don't simply pluck it and bring it. It is not something that destroys, I mean, doing those things, it destroys nature. So it's better to leave what you find in the nature. And yeah, unless you're a geologist where you have to actually bring it. But since you're going for camping, just try to leave no trace. The point is leave no trace. So if you take something, it means you're bringing that thing back home. Next point, be careful. Minimize campfire impacts. So we know that fire is very dangerous. People have died because of fire. People have died with fire. And yeah, fire is a dangerous thing. If your house burns, if you catch on fire, then it's a very dangerous thing. So when you are near fire, you should always be careful. Just recently, over here during winter, we burn lots of wood to keep ourselves warm. In Manipur, it gets cold, so we have to burn fire. And just one small piece of fire just flew. It's called an ember. It flew and fell on my pant. My pant was nylon, and one big hole came over there. Now, if it was a bigger piece of ember which fell on my pant, that pant would have melted and stuck to my skin, and it would have been a medical emergency because stuck plastic to your skin can burn you very deep. And if and it can even catch fire. So my whole pant would have been on fire, and yeah, but it did not happen like that. So be very careful with fire. Next is respect wildlife. If you see any insect, if you see any caterpillar, some people have the habit of playing with them. All those things can be dangerous. Maybe your own pet at home can be dangerous, right? You not trouble your pet too much because your pet can become angry, and they're animals, of course, they've got no reasoning, and your cat can scratch you, your cat can bite you, your dog can bite you, you do not know what will happen. So, and those are pets. Now imagine the animals that are living outside somewhere in the jungle, and you're teasing them, you're playing with them. Most of them are harmful. Even one small dot, a tiny dot of venom, a tiny dot of poison from one of the caterpillars can make a full rash in your body. And in South America, they've got the poison dart frog. It's as big as your thumbnail sometimes, or as big as your thumb. If that small piece goes into your mouth or into your bloodstream, you're dead. All right, so respect wildlife. And the next point is always ask for permission before entering another campsite. Now, here, when we go camping, you usually go camping to a place where others are not camping. But suppose you're having other campers around, right? You are Kuwait Pathfinders, you go and see some scout, right? Because scouts are worldwide. You see scouts, don't simply go, oh, you are scouts and I'm Kuwait, let's have some challenge. You should always ask for permission before entering their campsite. You should respect them, and in turn, they will respect you. And also, one more thing, always ask for permission from your senior before leaving the campsite. If you've got something to do, you please ask permission from somebody before leaving the campsite. Now, those are the 7 leave no trace principles. All right. You are going to have to memorize them. You're going to have to do what? Memorize them. You're going to have to keep them in mind. Like the first thing is plan ahead. Second one is travel on durable ground, dispose waste properly, and then do not play with fire, and do not throw waste here and there. Ask somebody, respect wildlife. So those are the 7 points. The next we are going to go is the 6 W's. All right. The next point we are going to is the 6 W's. The 6 W's are very important for camping. Now for living as human beings, we need first thing, very important. Without it, you will die within 4 minutes. What is that?
Air.
Are you? Huh? Air. That's right. Without air, a normal human being can die within 4 minutes. Within 4 minutes, your brain stops functioning. And once your brain stops functioning, everything stops because your brain controls your heartbeat, your breathing, and everything else. So that is wind. All right. They put it as wind. And next thing is water. Water is very important whenever you're going camping, because when you're camping, you're not just going to go there and you're going to sit. You're not going to do that. You're going to be going hiking. You're going to be having activities. And when you're active, you need more water. You need fresh air because your muscles are working. So first thing, the first W is wind. All right, that is air. Now, where it is very windy, you do not plant your tent. All right, you do not even simply go walking around where it's windy. Because if you're on a cliff and if it's windy, the wind can blow you off. And if you're building a tent where it's windy, you'll be flying away the tent, you'll be tumbling inside the tent, you can break your neck, you can break your bones. Wind is something that's very dangerous. All right. Wind can throw a piece of metal like a bullet, a hurricane, right? During hurricanes, crowbars and all these things, they're very heavy metals. Those things, they go flying around like a small piece of leaf and they can even go through a wall. So wind is something that's not to be taken lightly. So before you're camping, be always careful about the wind. Do not camp where it's too windy. Now, next point is water. Always try to find a place where you will be able to get good drinking water. Not every water place where there is water is good for your health. All right. Like if you're in the middle of the ocean, you're surrounded by water, but you cannot drink. It's not good to drink even a cup of water. You know why? You will drink a cup of seawater, but that one cup will remove 1 cup of water from your own body. As you grow bigger, you learn the process of osmosis. All right. So when there is something salty, your body immediately starts removing water from its own system, and it puts your system's water into that salt water. And so it's not advisable to drink salt water. Do not simply drink water that simply looks clear, because you're having tiny bacteria. Even a single bacteria, one single bacteria can cause big trouble. It can cause death. And that's why they say boil your water. So when you're having water, always be sure to boil your water before drinking, especially if you're collecting it during camping. If you're in a wildlife situation, always boil your water before drinking it. Next
Joy,
thing is the
can we do one thing? Can we do this class on Sunday? Is Sunday you're free? Or Monday?
Yeah. No, Sunday I'm going to another place. So Monday. I'll finish the W's. We've got 4 minutes.
No, what I'm thinking is Monday we can do we can just teach this honor. You can go ahead teaching this honor fully.
All right.
Because I can ask other people to come also.
All right.
Okay. Is that okay? Monday. Yeah. So all the other people also who could not do it, we'll do it on Monday. Is it okay, Auntie Rina?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Yeah.